Hello, this is a Chappell concert grand piano, about 270 centimetres long, made in 1936, and it's been refinished on the outside, and also the inside, the acoustic part has been redone, so they put Chappell on the side here. Chappell did make a reasonable number of concert pianos at one stage, and about this year I'm not that familiar with their pianos, but I've known many dealers mention them with high accolades, saying they're well-made pianos. So just trying to see what we feel about the quality and the value of the piano. Looking around the side here, it's been polyester and looks pretty immaculate to me. And it's got new Steinway style casters with brakes on, so that's obviously if you're in a concert you want the brake on so it doesn't move around while you're playing, or come off, or roll off the stage for that matter. So the music stand's been changed in style, I think. Though really I want to look at the mechanics on this to see if it is good enough to be a concert piano. These are original ivory keys. They've got the little line in the middle. You may not be able to pick it up on the video. Well, you might see a slight difference in colour, but that means they're originals. There's a slight difference in colour, and there's a little line. I don't know if it's going to show up on the video. I think it is. So they're originals. If they're replaced ones when it was redone, then they would be one piece, and up to about 1980 or so they often did that, and nowadays you wouldn't put ivories on. You can't put ivories on. Two pedals, because at that period there wasn't a middle sostenuto pedal. There was on some pianos, on Steinway had them, but most makes didn't have them. So the inside's been redone. It's got very large tuning pins, as my tuning lever fits on just at the top. So if you look at this is a medium star tuning lever, and it just about fits on the top. I would use a large star to tune this normally, although you can tune it with this size. And I've checked the tuning, and the pins are very tight. And around here, there's it's interesting, the stringing. I just want to show you that beautiful, rich sound in the bass. As soon as I came here, I just tried the bass, and it was beautiful. There's a difference here between the single chord and the bichord, and round here, where it merges into the trichord, it's slightly patchy in tone. But really, I don't think that's distracting from it being a concert piano. It's such a beautiful, warm tone, really. Now up here is interesting because you've got 4 strings. Now modern Blutners have 4 strings instead of an alicot. They've got one of the strings raised up, like the alicot. I tune one regularly in Oxford, and it has 1 string, so you've got 4 strings here. But I think Chappell have put these on to get extra volume in the top area, which is a good idea, which is exactly why Blutners put their alicots on too. But as I say, the 4 strings here on the Blutner, and I think I've made a video of that, this string goes up a little bit, so this hammer doesn't actually hit it there, that it goes across the bridge. But here you've got them all at the same level, and it seems to work, and with the unicorder it seems to still work, doesn't hit the next string. And it does give extra power, so it's a clever idea. When the acoustic side was restored, you can see the soundboard's been shimmed. You see the much lighter colours there of the shims. Sometimes they bleach the whole soundboard to match that, but you can see there, underneath there, you very often get it, and also across the middle here. And if we look down here, you can see another shim. They're more cosmetic than anything, not affecting the tone that much, shimming it, because the ribs carry the sound underneath the piano. So if we look underneath, you can see the ribs cross that way, and they're bringing the sound across the piano, and the soundboard's going that way, so slight openings here, unless they cause a buzz here, which happens in some cases, but not very common. But the sound is carried by the ribs across the soundboard, so it's not that important whether the cracks are filled or not, but when you restring a piano, they always do that. So it's got the original Schroeder action. It's very common action on a lot of top quality pianos, and the action is well made. You can see that a lot of work has been done. There's some of the hinges here have been replaced, but it's been reconditioned rather than replaced. We would replace hammers, shanks and rollers, as mentioned before, and these rollers are worn, which means the hammers are a bit low. There are hammer blows about 51 If you put new rollers on, it automatically brings it up, and obviously there's other regulation you would do too. If we look at the action here, it's a tied action like the old Bechsteins. Nothing wrong with the tied action. It can be regulated very well, and there's reasons for doing the tied action. There's less points at which it can rub as on normal action, but really I would prefer to have normal style action with capstans, and we change Bechstein actions very often, so it really doesn't matter in terms of the playability. So hammers, shanks and rollers are the most important thing. On this hinge here, some of the hammers are a bit tight, so the pins here are a little bit tight on some of them. That's making a varied touch. Original hammers, I think, quite dirty, some of them, and have been refaced and sound reasonable, but they're slightly patchy, so that's a good case for changing hammers, shanks and rollers, I would think. And in the bass here, they're quite dirty and patchy. Not that matters in terms of playing the piano, obviously it's just a cosmetic thing, but again, changing hammers, shanks and rollers is a pretty obvious thing to do here. But you don't really need to change the lever here, the whippen, and the screw is a great adjustment. It's like a Bechstein action, very similar. So that's a Chappell concert grand piano, and many extremely good aspects to the piano. It's a beautiful warm tone. The action, I think, is the main issue I would like to work on. The touch here, we've measured the down weight. 56 is reasonable there, but then it goes to 42, 44, so the down weight is a bit on the low side, and I think that's related to the hammers. They've been refaced, they've gone lighter generally, the action's gone lighter over the years, and should be, as you will have seen before, I would say 48, 52 here. It's not hugely different, but it's meant to be a concert grand piano. For domestic use you might not mind that too much. 41 is a bit low, so a bit varied really. So not a disaster, but if you're going to use it as a concert piano, it really needs to be perfect. And interesting enough, we had the extra strings at the top. I've just marked where the brakes are, and the brake, I didn't show that one so much, reasonable. But here there was one or two strings that were slightly different in tone. But the main issue here is really the action. It's very pleasant to play, but it's got to be much more than that, I think, for a concert grand piano. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm just going to give it a quick play and just perhaps reflect a little bit more, a couple more comments. So that's a Chappell concert grand piano, and really it's a delight to play. I think for a concert piano though we would have to change the hammers, shanks and rollers. The tone's a bit patchy and the touch isn't really even enough, and the best way of curing the whole thing is to do that. The original hammers at the moment. Such a warm bass sound. So there's a slight patchiness in the bass, but I think that's something we can sort out. It's not really a problem. So it's really just the action that needs work. Thank you very much for listening.